The cold on Graven 6 was like nothing any human had ever faced. It was not just freezing. It was cruel, sharp, biting, and endless. Snowstorms roared across the plains for weeks without pause. Even machines froze. Even hope froze. Corporal Elias Tren had been alone for 3 days now. His comlink had died the moment the blizzard worsened. His squad gone. The outpost destroyed. He had wrapped his hands in the last thermal cloth he could find, but it wasn't enough. His fingers had turned purple, then black. They no longer moved. He stumbled forward through the storm, his body numb, breath coming in short, painful gasps. The only sound was the wind screaming through the frozen cliffs. He fell again. His face hit the snow hard, but he didn't feel it, and that's when he saw her. A shadow moved in the white haze, tall, graceful, not human. He blinked, unsure if it was real. It came closer, crouched beside him, and touched his shoulder. Human. A voice whispered in soft tones, warm despite the storm. "You should not be here." Elias looked up. Her skin shimmered in the snowlight icy blue with a faint violet hue. Her eyes glowed with golden warmth. She was alien. But not like the enemies they had fought. There was no hatred in her touch, only concern. "Cold," Elias muttered. Double quotes, "Yes, your hands," she said, examining them carefully. "They are dying." Her fingers were long and gentle, and they radiated warmth, not heat from a suit, but something natural, something alive. She glanced around, then lifted him with ease, cradling him like a child. She carried him through a narrow path in the rock, her large cloak wrapping them both. They entered a cave hidden behind a curtain of frozen vines. Inside, the temperature shifted. It was still cold, but not deadly. Small, bioluminescent plants clung to the walls. They gave off a dim blue light, casting shadows that danced with the wind outside. She placed Elias on a thick bed of moss and furs. "I am Isera," she said. "Elias," he managed to whisper. Isera's hands hovered over his chest. Her palms began to glow faintly. Warmth seeped into his bones, like sunlight after a long winter. He gasped, "Your hands need more." "They will not survive the cold," she said softly. Elias groaned. "Do what you must." She unwrapped the frozen bandages. The sight made even her windskin cracked, fingertips blackened. She placed his hands against her neck, just under her jawline. Her skin was soft, almost silky. A strange scent filled the air, earthy, warm, slightly sweet. Musk, but not like any animal. It was natural, healing. His body trembled. "Relax, my kind. We transfer warmth through the musk." "It's safe," he nodded slowly. The warmth pulsed into him again, stronger this time. It wasn't just heat, it was something deeper, something almost alive. He could feel it creeping through his veins, fighting the cold like a warrior fighting a beast. He looked up at her. "Why are you helping me?" Isera's expression was unreadable. "Because I've seen enough death." She turned away, adjusting a hanging stone pot over a gentle fire. Steam began to rise from the herbal mixture inside. "I thought your people were with the enemy," Elias said carefully. "We are not all the same," she said. "Some of us refused to fight this war. Some of us were punished for that." Elias didn't reply. He could barely process what she was saying. But her presence, her voice, her warmth, it was real. It was keeping him alive. She brought him a cup. It smelled strong, bitter, and sweet at once. "Drink. It will help your blood flow again." He drank, and for the first time in 3 days, he felt the return of sensation. The pain was sharp, but it meant he was still alive. Isera sat beside him. Her long hair fell over her shoulder like silver silk. Her eyes stayed on the fire. "There are others like me," she whispered. "Hiding, healing, watching. The war has broken everything." He stared into the flames. And yet you saved me. She turned to him slowly. And now, Elias Tren, the question is, what will you do next? Outside, the blizzard raged on, but inside the cave, something had changed. Warmth lived where death once waited. And Elias, half broken, half healed, realized he had just stepped into something far deeper than any war, something ancient, something strange, and possibly something meant just for him. Elias woke to a strange warmth covering his chest and hands. It wasn't from a blanket or fire. It was Isera curled beside him, her skin pressed gently against his, her breath steady and calm. Her body radiated heat like a living furnace, but it didn't burn. It soothed. He blinked and slowly sat up, his hands no longer numb. They were red, cracked, but alive. He wiggled his fingers and gave a weak laugh. You laugh? Isera asked, opening her eyes. That is good. I thought I was dead, Elias said. I guess humans take a little more to kill. You were almost gone, she said, but you fought. That matters. Elias looked around. The cave was silent. Only the soft drip of melting icicles echoed through the chamber. His gear was piled in a corner, useless now. His weapons were frostbitten to mechanical junk. What day is it? He asked. Isera tilted her head. Does it matter? It does if there's still a war going on. There's always a war going on, Elias Tren. He paused. How do you know my full name? She stood up slowly and walked to a carved shelf of frozen herbs. Because I was once a soldier too, long ago. He stared at her, eyes narrowing. You were in their army? She nodded, not ashamed. I fought, I believed. Then I saw what we were doing to your kind. Elias leaned forward. What did you see? I saw children screaming, she said softly. I saw machines cut through towns like they were weeds. I saw orders given that no sane being would follow. So I ran. They hunted me too. He lowered his head. I lost my team. My squad, all of them gone. She turned and sat beside him again. We are both ghosts now. He didn't know what to say for a moment. Silence stretched between them like ice. But it wasn't cold anymore. What will you do next? She asked. I should head south, find the extraction point, Elias said. Command won't wait forever. You can barely walk, Isera said. Your feet are still swollen. The cold hasn't left them. I'll crawl if I have to. She placed a hand on his shoulder. Let me help. He stared at her. Why do you care? Because someone has to, she whispered. A rustling sound echoed from deep inside the cave. Elias froze. What was that? Isera stood, her expression suddenly sharp. Stay here. She moved silently toward the back of the cave, grabbing a thin, glowing blade from a stone slot. Her posture changed, calm but dangerous, like a predator who hadn't forgotten how to kill. Elias reached for his old rifle. It didn't power on, but the barrel could still be swung. Seconds passed. Then she returned, breathing slowly. It was a cave crawler, blind. It left, she said. No danger. Elias relaxed a little. You're good with that thing. She gave a slight smile. I used to be better. That night, as they sat by the fire again, Elias noticed something strange. Her body gave off more heat the closer he got, but only when she was calm. When she tensed, the warmth faded. When she smiled, it returned. Your warmth, it reacts to emotion? He asked. Yes, she nodded. It is part of who we are. We don't burn, we comfort. That scent too, Elias said. That? Musk. What is it really? It is how we heal others. Not just with heat, but with scent and energy. It calms nerves, restores blood. Our ancestors used it to save whole villages in the ice wars. Is that why you stayed behind? He asked. To keep healing? I stayed because I lost faith in my people, she whispered. And maybe I was waiting for something, or someone. He looked at her. You think that's me? She didn't answer. She only leaned closer, her hand resting over his. Her skin was warm, glowing faintly under the cave light. Her touch wasn't romantic, it was steady, safe. I'll leave soon, Elias said quietly. I know, she replied, but I won't forget this, nor will I. He laid back against the moss and watched the lights above dance. The war, the death, the cold, all of it felt far away for a moment. And in that small cave on a frozen, forgotten world, he began to wonder, was survival just luck, or was it something deeper? Elias woke before the fire this time. His hands were stiff but working. His body was sore, but not broken. A small miracle, considering what he'd been through. Isera sat near the mouth of the cave, staring out into the soft white light of morning snow. Her silhouette was peaceful, but something in her posture looked tense. He rose and limped toward her. You don't sleep much, do you? I listen, she replied. The wind carries more than just snow. Elias sat beside her, squinting into the white haze. You hear something? She nodded slowly. Movement. Not from the animals. Heavy. Organized. His stomach sank. Scouts? Maybe. Machines, maybe. But not ours. Yours. That stunned him. Human troops? Out here? I don't think they're looking to rescue you, she said softly. Elias narrowed his eyes. You think they're tracking you? They have no love for defectors. If they find us together... She didn't finish. She didn't need to. Looked at her really looked this time. The war had left her alone, hunted, and yet she still risked everything to help a dying human. Now both of them might pay for that. We should move, he said. I can walk, at least far enough, but Isera didn't move. She stayed quiet a long moment, then said, There is something I must show you first. She stood and walked deeper. Into the cave. Elias followed, past the soft moss bed, past the steam-filled alcove where she brewed her healing herbs. Then she knelt beside a stone slab carved with markings, alien runes glowing faintly. Isera placed her palm on the stone. It shimmered, then slowly slid open with a low hiss. A hidden chamber revealed itself, glowing with gentle golden light. Elias stepped inside. His breath caught. The chamber walls were covered in crystal panels, each displaying images, records, and maps. Floating in the air was a holographic model of Graven 6, showing settlements, old battle sites, and underground paths. This is tech. Ancient, he said. Isera nodded. Older than both our kinds. I found it years ago, before I left the army. Why hide it? Because it holds something both sides would kill for. She pointed to a section of the hologram that showed a strange, glowing valley beneath the ice. This place. It's called Vale's Heart, deep under the snow. It's a geothermal well surrounded by crystal flora. It's alive. Elias stepped closer. Alive? The warmth you felt from me, the musk? Our healing, our biology came from there long ago. Our ancestors lived in harmony with the crystals. But over time, we forgot. We turned to war. Science. Twisted it into weapons. Elias was silent, absorbing her words. She stepped closer. Vale's heart can heal more than just hands. It can heal life, worlds, but in the wrong hands. They'll use it to win the war, Elias said bitterly. No, she whispered. They'll use it to end everything. Elias exhaled slowly. So why are you showing me this? Because I need someone to help protect it. And I think you're not just a soldier anymore. He looked at her, torn between disbelief and something deeper. Trust. I'm just a mechanic turned scout who got left behind, he said. And yet you're still alive, she replied. Still here. That means something. Before he could respond, a low sound echoed through the cave. A mechanical whine. A tracker drone. Ysera's head snapped toward the sound. They're close. Elias moved fast. He grabbed what gear still worked and checked the blaster Ysera had stored in the side wall. You said there are tunnels? He asked. Yes, through the geothermal vents. Dangerous. But it'll hide us. Then let's go. She opened a second panel behind the crystal room. Steam poured out. The air was thick, hot, and alive with strange glowing spores floating like dust motes. They stepped inside. The stone closed behind them. As they descended into the hidden depths of Graven 6, the snowstorm raged above. And just behind, the drone scanned the cave and sent a pulse pinging coordinates to something much worse. The hunt had begun. But so had something else. Elias felt it in his chest as they moved deeper into the glowing tunnels. The cold inside him was dying. But something else was waking up. The tunnel was alive. Steam hissed from cracks in the walls. Faint pulses of light traveled through the crystal veins that lined the passage, responding to their movement like the system itself could sense them. The warmth grew as they went deeper, replacing the cold with something strange and electric. Elias felt it. In his chest, in his fingertips. His blood felt lighter. Ysera moved ahead with confidence, her glowing eyes adjusting to the dim shimmer with ease. Where are we now? Elias asked. She looked back. In the old veins of Vale's heart, we are walking inside what once gave my kind life. They passed a small chamber where tall, glowing stalks grew from the floor. Ysera paused, knelt, and broke off a pale leaf. She offered it to Elias. Chew it. It will help you breathe. He bit into the leaf. It was bitter, but within moments, his lungs felt clearer. The heavy steam no longer choked him. How is all this hidden underground? He asked. How does no one know? Because we buried it, she said. Centuries ago, when war first poisoned our people, we sealed the heart away. Only a few of us were trusted with the path. I was one. And now, you are too. They continued. As they moved deeper, the walls began to widen, and soon the tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber. Elias froze. It was beautiful. And enormous. Glowing domes stretched above them, made of living crystal and dripping vines. Pools of warm liquid reflected the pulsing light. Strange plants moved slowly, not in wind, but in rhythm. Everything here had its own pulse, and it was all connected. This is Vale's heart, Ysera whispered. Elias stepped forward, stunned. It's like a living world. Yes, the core of Graven 6, and it still breathes, still heals. Still remembers. He looked around, then down at his own hands. The frostbite scars were almost gone. The warmth he'd felt in her touch, it was this. This place was the source, but the peace didn't last long. A sharp whine echoed from the tunnel. Behind them, Ysera spun around. They've followed. How? Elias hissed. She glanced at the path. The drone must have tagged us. They're coming fast. He raised his blaster, though it was barely powered. What kind of soldiers? Not soldiers, hunters. What? She pulled him behind a large growth of crystal. Just then, the tunnel mouth burst with light. A mechanical shape stepped out, not walking, but floating sleek and black, with long arms and glowing red eyes. Elias's breath caught. An execution unit? The machine scanned the chamber, its voice crackling through static. Ysera of the Valen, you are marked for removal. Surrender the human asset. Ysera stood tall. I claim protection under the old codes. The machine's voice buzzed. Old codes do not apply. Elias raised his weapon. Then we fight. The machine raised a plasma launcher, but before it could fire, Ysera shouted something in her native tongue. A surge of energy burst from the crystals around her. They glowed blindingly, and the machine faltered. Now! She shouted. Elias fired. The blaster pulse struck the floating core of the unit. It didn't destroy it, but it cracked the shell. Sparks flew. The machine spun, disoriented, and then vanished back into the tunnel. Izera grabbed Elias. It won't stop. But now it's hurt. We have little time. They moved to a lower section of the chamber. There, a crystal altar stood in the center of a warm pool. Izera touched it. The heart will listen if I awaken it fully, she said. Elias frowned. Awaken. Yes, you felt its touch. Now it must feel yours. She took his hand, guiding him into the pool. The water wasn't just warm, it tingled like it was alive. When his skin touched the altar, the whole chamber pulsed. The walls brightened. The floor shook. Elias felt something push into his mind, not words but memory. Images, sounds, emotions. He gasped. He saw a time before war. Before machines. When Valen and humans hadn't yet met. When both had lived under suns and sky without guns or fear. And the heart, it had glowed brighter then. Izera watched him. Do you see it now? He nodded slowly. It's not just energy. It's memory, soul. Yes, and it chose you. Elias looked down at the glowing veins running along his skin. I don't know why, he whispered. Because you still believe in mercy, she said. Above. The tunnel echoed again. More were coming. But the heart had awakened, and it would. Not be silent. Asterisk. The light from the heart grew stronger with each passing second. Elias stood waist-deep in the glowing pool, breathing hard, his hands trembling, not from fear, but from power. The veins along his arms now pulsed with soft blue light, matching the crystal glow of the chamber around him. I feel it inside me, he said quietly. The heart has chosen to bond with you, Izera said, standing just outside the pool. It trusts you. He stepped out, dripping but warm. So what does that mean? I have powers now? Not like stories, she said. But you are part of this place now. You carry its memory. Its warmth. You may heal faster. Move differently. Understand things you couldn't before. As she spoke, the ground rumbled. More machines entered the tunnel. This time, 3. Elias could see the glow of their sensors through the steam. The injured unit was back too, trailing sparks. Its core damaged but still deadly. They're not going to stop, Elias muttered. No, Izera said. They were built to finish what they start. She reached into the moss beneath the crystal altar and pulled out a staff. Long, silver-white, wrapped in old Valen etchings. The end curved into a crystal blade that shimmered with inner fire. This was mine, she said. From a time when I thought war made me strong. You're sure about this? Izera turned to him. The heart has seen your truth. Now it's time for them to see it too. They moved quickly, taking cover near the chamber's edge. The machines entered, scanning, hovering just above the glowing ground. One of them spoke, voice harsh and metallic. Unauthorized organic integration detected. Target, human anomaly. Elias rolled his eyes. Nice to be noticed. Izera spun her staff once. Stay near me. The heart responds to unity. Elias gripped his blaster tightly. Though he felt something else humming inside him now, a presence, guiding his aim, sharpening his thoughts. The first machine opened fire. A pulse of red energy ripped toward them, but the crystals near Izera reacted instantly, throwing up a shield of light. The blast broke across the surface like waves hitting stone. Elias ducked behind a pillar and returned fire. His shot struck the machine's lower limb, snapping it off. But the machine kept moving. Too many. He shouted. Izera raised her staff. It pulsed with light, and the chamber answered. The crystals on the floor and walls lit up in patterns, forming shapes, roots, tendrils of energy that lashed toward the enemy. One machine was struck directly, its body seizing in sparks before crashing to the floor. "They're afraid of the heart," Elias said. "They should be," Ysera replied. Another drone flanked them, firing rapid plasma bursts. Elias dove and rolled behind a root-like structure. As he did, one of the pulses grazed his arm, but instead of burning through, it bounced slightly, slowed by a thin field of light that shimmered over his skin. "Did you see that?" he said, stunned. "It protected me. The heart is defending its host." With a cry, Ysera leapt forward and slashed the nearest machine with her staff. The blade passed through its core, the light leaving behind melted metal and silence. The last two drones backed up, recalculating. "They're regrouping," Elias said, probably calling for more. Ysera knelt near the base of the altar again and placed both hands on the stone. "Then we don't wait." A vibration filled the air. The crystals responded, humming louder. From the walls, ancient symbols lit up, filling the dome with history, memory, and warning. "I'm unlocking the full shield," Ysera said. "What does that mean?" "The chamber will seal itself. No one in, no one out." Elias frowned. "Including us?" "If we stay," she said calmly, "we stay forever." He hesitated. The war was still out there. Command might think he was dead. Maybe he was supposed to be. But this place, this woman, had given him life again. And more than that, it had shown him that hope was still possible. "I'm not leaving you," he said. Ysera looked at him, eyes glowing gently. "Then take my hand." They stood together at the center of the heart. The light grew, surrounding them both. The machines advanced again, but the ground beneath them cracked open. Vines of crystal burst up, wrapping their limbs, crushing their cores. Sparks flew. The last drone screamed in static before it was pulled down into the light. Then silence. The light dimmed. The chamber pulsed, slow and steady. Elias and Ysera stood alone, breathing in the heat of peace. "We're safe," Elias said. "For now," Ysera replied. "But the heart is awake now, and more eyes will come looking." Elias looked down at his hand, still glowing faintly, still carrying the warmth of something far older than war. "Then we'll protect it," he said. "Together." The chamber slept again. The lights of the heart had dimmed to a soft glow, like a resting giant breathing in silence. Elias and Ysera sat near the pool, their backs to the altar. Their bodies were bruised, their energy drained. But the warmth in the air wrapped around them like a protective cocoon. For the first time in days, Elias felt stillness. No gunfire, no cold wind. No voices barking orders in his COMS. Just her. Ysera dipped a cloth into the pool and gently cleaned a cut on his cheek. Her touch was steady, her expression calm, but he noticed the worry behind her eyes. "They'll come," she finally said. "I know. Not drones this time. Not scouts, real soldiers. Your kind, my kind, maybe both." Elias leaned back against the crystal wall and looked up at the glowing dome. "Let them. I've seen what this place can do. It won't kill for you again," she warned. "The heart protects life. It defends, yes. But it won't become a weapon." "I don't want it to be one," he said. She looked at him. "But the world above does." He nodded slowly. "Which is why we can't let them take it." They spent the rest of the day preparing. Ysera showed him hidden pathways through the Tindidina. Deeper tunnels, old traps left from the time of war, and forgotten vents that reached up toward the surface. Elias marked them mentally. If they had to escape, or if they needed to lure enemies away from the heart, these paths might be their only chance. That night, while she rested, Elias climbed one of the higher crystal ridges inside the dome. From there, he could see the entire chamber, its glow, its life. He touched the side of his neck. where the veins still shimmered faintly beneath his skin. The heart had changed him, not into a monster, not into a god, but into someone who finally felt alive. A sound interrupted his thoughts. A soft beat, faint but unmistakable. He looked down. His broken comlink, tucked into a pouch on his belt, was flashing. Somehow, the warmth of the heart had reactivated a piece of it. Elias hesitated, then pressed a single button. Static. Then a voice. Corporal Elias Tren, if you're alive, respond. It was command. He froze, unsure. His first instinct was to answer. To say, I'm alive. I'm here. But then he looked back at the sleeping figure of Ysera near the pool. Her body curled. In peace. Her skin still glowing faintly, her face soft. If he answered, he would bring hell here. So he whispered, delete trace signal, and shut the device off. The next morning, Ysera stood by the altar again. She didn't ask about the come, but something in her eyes told him she knew. The heart showed me something, Elias said. Last night, when I touched it again. What did it show you? A future. One where this place is overrun. Soldiers digging up its roots, bottling its energy, using it to power weapons. Ysera nodded. That is what your world does. I want to change that. She looked at him with something close to hope. You alone? No, he said. Us, they packed light. Only tools, a few herbs, some crystals for healing. Then they set out up through the narrow tunnels toward the surface. The ice above was cracking. Something had arrived. They emerged near the ridge. Elias had first fallen from where the wind had nearly killed him. Now it welcomed him like an old friend. Below, in the white distance, he saw them. Dropships, 4 of them. Black with human military insignia, and marching in rows beside them. Soldiers. Dozens. Double quotes. They found us, Ysera whispered. They found me, Elias said. What will you do? He stared down at the army that had once called him brother. Then he looked at the alien. Beside him, the cave behind them, and the new blood in his glowing hands. I'll talk to them, he said. One last time. He walked forward slowly, raising his arms. Knowing they had snipers watching, he reached the clearing. A commander stepped forward, his armor clean, his eyes sharp. Corporal Elias Tren, you've been marked Kier for 5 days. I'm alive. Elias replied calmly. You're with her, an enemy. She saved my life. The commander stepped closer. Your hands. They're glowing. I carry the heart of Graven 6 now, Elias said. I'm here to make sure no one takes it. The commander frowned. You're under arrest. No, Elias said. Behind him, Ysera stepped forward, holding the crystal staff upright. I'm not under your control anymore, Elias said. I'm under something older, something better. The commander raised a hand. Guns clicked into position. The standoff had begun. Asterisk snow fell softly between them. Elias stood alone in the clearing, facing a wall of soldiers from the same flag he once served. Behind him, Ysera waited near the cave's entrance, the heart deep below, pulsing through the rock like a buried soul. The commander's voice cut through the cold. Step away from the alien, Tren. You're still a soldier. Don't throw your
life away for her. Elias didn't move. I already did.
And it saved me. She's a deserter, a war criminal. You're infected with something, some kind of tech. Elias raised his hands. It's not tech. It's life. It's healing. And it's not meant to be turned into a weapon. The commander took a step forward. His visor shimmered with data, likely scanning Elias's vitals, the glow in his veins, everything he couldn't understand. We can help you, the commander offered. Just surrender. Tell us where the source is. No one has to get hurt. Elias laughed bitterly. You've never said that when you meant it. Don't be stupid. I'm not. I'm just finally human again. A flicker of movement. A soldier twitched. A rifle lifted slightly. Isera appeared behind Elias, her staff glowing in warning. The commander raised his hand again. One more. Step and we fire. Elias turned, just slightly, and spoke to Isera without looking. If they shoot, don't fight. Seal the path. Lock the heart away again. She didn't respond. But he knew she heard. Elias looked back at the army that had come to erase him. You're afraid, he said, because you know I'm not wrong. What you carry is unstable, the commander snapped. It could spread, corrupt others. You've been compromised. Elias took a step forward. You still don't get it. This isn't corruption. This is what we lost. This is balance. The heart gives warmth, healing, memory. It doesn't want to rule. It wants to live. The soldiers. Tensed. Elias stood tall. I won't let you bury that under steel and fire. Suddenly, a low hum shook the ground. It wasn't weapons. It was the heart rising through the veins of the mountain, reacting to Elias's voice. The snow around him glowed faintly. The warmth reached the air. A few soldiers shifted uncomfortably. Commander raised his rifle. This is your last chance, Corporal. But Elias only smiled. No, this is yours. He turned his back to the soldiers and walked toward Isera. Guns lifted. No shots fired. He reached her side. They didn't shoot, she whispered. They don't understand what's happening. Not yet. Isera touched her staff to the snow. The ice cracked open behind them, revealing the glowing path back to the heart. We can seal it now. Let it rest. Elias shook his head. No, not hide it. Not anymore. He turned back, facing the soldiers once more, and raised his voice. Place this power. It's not for war. But maybe, if any of you still remember what peace is, what healing means, you can learn something. You can be better. The soldiers didn't lower their guns. But some of them didn't lift them either. The commander stood silent, unsure. Elias looked at him. I'm not your enemy, and neither is she. Silence stretched. Then one soldier lowered his rifle. Then another, and another. The commander stared, stunned as his men hesitated. Elias nodded once. You can fire, or you can follow. But if you want to take this place by force, you'll have to kill someone who's finally living again. He turned, took Isera's hand, and together they walked down the glowing path. No shots rang out. Heart didn't seal. It stayed open, because maybe, just maybe, something had changed. Days later, the first group of scientists arrived, unarmed, curious, unsure. They weren't soldiers. They weren't conquerors. They were listeners. Elias stood at the edge of the heart chamber, showing them how to walk without damaging the glowing moss, how to breathe calmly so the crystal light didn't flicker. Isera taught them to mix the leaves gently, to speak softly near the pools. The heart didn't resist them. It welcomed them. Not all humans came with guns. Some came with questions, and that was enough.